Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the British Boring Car Championship, and welcome, of course, to the final race meeting of the season here on Chaz Draycott Media. My name, of course, is Chaz Draycott, and I have been so excited for this final round of the season. All the drivers hyped up for this one and ready for it to kick off. Plenty to be fought for here. So, without further ado, we'll go straight into the points and show you how it is. Before we get into the main fight, we do have the Mediocre Cup for Independence, which Calvin Dent leads the way in at the moment, but he's 20 points ahead of Maciej Sakovic, who could turn that difference around tonight. Calvin needs to just make sure that he outscores him each individual race. Now, I'm actually looking to see if Maciej's here, and at the moment, we don't actually have him here, but he has turned up last minute before in these practice sessions, so Calvin could very well win that championship there. And the main fight, of course, for the overall title in the British Boring Car Championship. Matt Draycott, 24 points clear at the top. All he needs to do to make it impossible for Jake Robertson to take this title is score 9 points tonight. The most you can do is score 33 points in a race meeting. If Matt scores those 9, then it is not going to happen for Jake. However, looking at the current entry list that we've got, it seems like Jake isn't here either, so that championship may have already, in a very non-dramatic fashion, been wrapped up in favour of Matt Draycott. We'll have to see when we get around to qualifying, but the guys are just out in practice at the moment. It's currently Michael Blake who is fastest out of everybody on this Silverstone International Circuit. We'll go on board with Michael again, shall we? We need to turn the car volume up, don't we? Let's make the cars a little bit louder. So out of the good old-fashioned cops in towards Maggots and Beckett's and onto the brakes, then into what is now a sort of double apex right. Essentially here, it's like a hairpin to the right. You want to get on the power as soon as possible, not take out those cones on the left. Trust me, we're going to see those cones going flying tonight. All the way down to the Abbey hairpin. Now down towards Bridge. One hell of a corner. Look at that, the commitment, even in these cars, you know, the commitment through there is very, very gutsy stuff. Into the classic section here. The old stadium section. Beautiful bit of circuit. Round Luffield. And then down the start-finish straight. Now, some of the drivers need to be careful. Those bollards on the right-hand side will give you a slowdown if you drive too far through them. So they do need to be very, very careful with what they're doing. Michael Blake not being too careful. Obviously, after the last round, Josh Rayfield and Matt Draycott are the team's champions. And both of them are very, very happy about it, as you can imagine. Matt now looking to wrap up the driver's title here, and if he does that tonight, he will win every title available in the British Touring Car Championship within 2 seasons. He won the Independence Championship last season. He'll have clinched the Teams Championship with his teammate Josh, and then won the overall Drivers' Championship. It'll be a real shame if we don't get Jake Robertson in the session, but we also know how busy Jake has been. You'll hear me messaging him now, because we do want to see a championship fight for this. We want the drama. Jack Werrell just ahead of Steve Burke there, who we were looking at. He's back out on track tonight. Good to see Jack behind the wheel for this final round. Brian Crowles also on track in the Ericsson Hitters machine. And it's probably a good time, I should say, to mention as well that we had another vote this season for the Driver's Driver Award, which is basically the other driver's favourite driver of the season, or they think the most deserving of an award at least. And Jake Robertson took that one with 3 votes. Carl Jacquelet close second, and then there was, I believe, 5 other drivers that got votes. Calvin Dent, Matt Draycott, Steve Burke. Just trying to think who the other ones were. Carl Jacquelet obviously got some of the votes as well. But yeah, it was nicely contested. So Jake Robertson taking the win on that one. Look at them round this final corner here. We'll look at Brian's teammate Liam Silkstone. Look at this run down towards the Abbey hairpin. Great bit of circuit. Onto the brakes hard. A little bit of a lock up there. Calvin Dent's currently 4th fastest at the moment, and he's going to be hoping to retain that. He needs some good championship points. And if we do not get Jake or Majek within the next 5 minutes, then I'm afraid that is the title decided in both respects. And we will get all of these drivers now in a bit more of a chilled scenario. But of course, just because the top spot is confirmed in the championship, it doesn't mean that the second spot is. If we just go back to the overall points, you'll see that Steve Burke is only 12 points behind Jake. So Steve Burke could very well take second in the championship here for Nodaphone. Might just fit our currently second in the team's championship ahead of Nodaphone and Bordeaux, which have mainly been just represented by Steve and Jake respectively this season. So it might just fit trying to defend their team's championship title. Obviously unsuccessful in doing so, but they still could grab second place here. So I'm intrigued to see whether they do that. You can just see how close it is as well during practice for these guys so far. 13 cars currently on track. No more other cars registered for the session or anything. Down through bridge again comes Liam Silverstone. Not many cars out in practice now. A lot of the drivers just sat in the pits waiting at the minute. And a lot of them will just be nervous for qualifying to come around. Still no sign of Majek or Jake, unfortunately. Neither of them in the... Oh! Although I say that, neither of them are in the Discord chat, but Magic Sakovic has joined the race. He's not out on track yet. The car hasn't spawned in, but he has just last minute jumped in, so he'll be trying to fight Calvin Dent for the Independence Championship. But in about 2 minutes' time, this could become the least climactic announcement of a championship winner. Jake did say he was going to race this week, or he was going to at least try to. We know that he's been very busy, and we do obviously respect that with Jake after a very successful year in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship. Only age 15 as well as Jake, so he's got a lot going on. And to juggle all that and do nearly 1,000 hours in World Rallycross this season in terms of practice and racing is pretty phenomenal, isn't it? So well done to him. Carl Jacolette's out there having a little bit of a dice with Derek Robb as the session ticks down. Into the pits then comes Carl Jacolette. Michael Blake currently fastest in practice. He's always gone well round here. It seems like the Might Just Fit driver doing fine once again around this, what is a classic circuit for touring car racing. Michael currently trying to hold on to P5 in the championship. He's only 4 points behind Calvin Dent actually as well. So it's close there, because then Calvin is only 4 points behind Steve Burke too, as the session ticks over. And that means now that everybody is going to reset and go into qualifying. But with no appearance from Jake Robertson, it does, however, mean that this man, Matt Draycott, is your British Boring Car champion for Season 2. So well done to Matt in his second season in the championship, claiming the title And you could argue it would have been a very different story if Jake would have made every round, and we all agree. Matt's doing some celebratory jumping through the air. Bit of damage on the car now because of that. I'm just going to try and see who's furthest round a lap, and it looks like it's Josh Rayfield again. No, it's not actually. Apologies. I think it's Carl Jacquelet that is at the front of the train. Maybe Michael Blake ahead? Yeah, Michael Blake is further up. So it's Blake and then Burke and then Jacquelet. So again, we'll stay with Michael Blake and see what he can do. Great to see Michael going well. He had a rotten start to the season, so did both the Might Just Fit drivers, him and Andy Fox. No luck for either of them. Maciej Sakovic is out on circuit. There he goes. I've just had a message off Jake Robertson saying he would have told me earlier, but he wanted to let Matt know at last minute. I'll just congratulate him and say well done on this season. Hopefully we see Jake back for next time round. So the title fight we need to keep an eye on now is in the Mediocre Cup for Independence, which Calvin Dent is trying to race Maciej Sakovic for, as he has a bit of contact with Niall Crowther in qualifying, which is far from ideal for either of them. A little bit of a blink in and out there for Werrell. Here's Maciej Sakovic, who is trying to make it 2 independent championships out of 2 for that car. Apologies, it wasn't Jack Werrell having the internet blip, it was Luke Austin. Good to see Luke back out there as well in the independents. I believe he's on 17 points so far this season, Luke, and he's not done too many rounds either, so he's shown that he's got good potential for if the season returns. Just trying to keep an eye on the behaviour of some of these drivers around here. So Michael Blake then will be the first car to cross the line and start a qualifying lap in this final qualifying session of the season. It's a very wide track around here at Silverstone, so it doesn't always look like they're going that quickly. As we have lap times on the board, Draycott fastest at the moment. Oh, of course, this is the end of their first flying lap. Silly Chaz. 1:35.3, 27 thousandths ahead of Carl Jacquelet, then Steve Burke. Currently third at the moment. Derek Robb 1.4 seconds off the pace, but I think he might have had a little bit of traffic as well with Luke Austin on that lap, so the Team Jane Fonda driver not getting the cleanest run. That's not the cleanest run either. Massive drift. Luke Austin's done the same just behind. Doesn't hit anybody else. Manages to keep it out of the way of everybody. Andy Fox hasn't done a clean lap yet. That's the thing with these cars. Some of the guys do push them a little bit too hard sometimes. You can get incident points quite easily around here if you just overstep the mark that tiny bit. Nice smooth stuff through the Abbey hairpin for Andy Fox. But I really hope you've enjoyed this season, everybody. It's been a lot of fun to cover it and a lot of fun to broadcast it, as ever. And we do, of course, hope that we can put on another series into 2021. Don't forget, by the way, the British Boring Car Championship Christmas Beach Party will be hosted on the 28th of December on Sim Racers World TV, as the lights have just come on here ahead of the heat race. The first race, let's say. Carl Jacquelet is currently fastest. Michael Blake does not improve. Draycott is exactly a 10th behind Carl, so Carl has definitely grabbed some pace from somewhere this season. Again, one of the most, if not the most improved driver for me this season, Carl Jacquelet. Steve Burke is now on another outlap. He's in third. Silverstone is sixth at the moment. Now, where is Maciej Sakovic and Calvin Dent? Calvin, actually, the only car not to have put in a clean lap so far. He's just going around the final corner now. There's Luke Austin and Steve Burke side by side behind him. Here's Calvin potentially feeling a little bit of pressure with this final race meeting. Again, across the line and no clean lap for Calvin, so go back on board with the current independent championship leader. Look at the commitment through there. Pushing so hard. Oh, he nearly clips the grass on the outside. Really uses all of the lock to get it turned into the right-hander. Now on the huge run down towards the Abbey hairpin. Doesn't seem too smooth through there. He's just hugging it to the left. Is there a car on his right? There isn't. He's then got Steve Burke, Luke Austin, and Brian Crowell's just behind him. Carl Jackalette, though, what a time he's done. Michael Blake goes third fastest, 1:35.316. Oh, there was contact behind. Oh, Steve Burke. Steve Burke's had an issue there. Bit of contact with him and somebody else. We'll go back to watching Calvin Dent, though, just under bridge. Don't forget, half-hour feature race here, which is mainly going to be at night. The 15-minute sprint race will go pretty dark pretty quickly. Now we've got headlights on. You can hear Calvin changing down just to try and get more of a run out the final corner. Let's see what his time will be. Majek with no practice, though, 2.3 seconds off in qualifying so far. We know that he can be quicker than that. Don't forget, 10th place gets put onto pole. Calvin Dent goes 6th. So he puts himself in the middle as things stand. Liam Silkstone just behind. Josh Rayfield just ahead. Niall Crowther currently in car 10, P10, the golden 10th place that will put him on pole position for the sprint race at the moment. It's looking like 3 points are going to go the way of Carl Jackalette. 2 points going to Draycott, 1 point going to Michael Blake. Michael's done very well in qualifying this season. Andy Fox has been saying that he's frustrated with qualifying because he's always shown that he's got good pace in practice but just can't replicate it in qualifying at all. And I hope for Andy's sake that he can improve that. He has got a better time. He's still within a second of pole position, but at the moment he's only down in 11th. He's just missing out on that 10th place that would eventually put him on pole. He's got Steve Burke ahead. Carl Jackalette just behind, a bit late on the brakes, runs into the back of him. You won't be too pleased with that. Luke Austin's having a bit of trouble out there as well. 1.2 seconds off. Sakovic 2.3 off the pace at the moment. What will Majek do? To 7th. 7th place for Majek. I was just scanning some of the points situations then, sorry, just to try and see whether anybody else can have any real scraps. We do have a couple of drivers that are tied on points throughout the order. Niall Crowther and Luke Austin. We also have Michael Ellett and Andy Fox. Michael Ellett, unfortunately, not able to race this evening, so Andy just needs to get at least 1 point to get further inside the top 10. He's currently 10th in the championship. Derek Robb is 12th on 34 points. Josh Rayfield is only 4 points ahead of Carl Jackalette, his teammate from last season. So he'll be wanting to beat him, but Carl doing a great job at the moment. He's all over the back of Andy Fox again. He's sideways. Manages to get it through there. Andy won't be too pleased with that, and he's actually just gone straight back to the pits. Steve Burke was ahead of all of the nonsense, so he's just carried on. He's 4th at the moment. They said third then. Down into Abbey. I was just about to say, it doesn't look like these cars are going to make the apex, but Steve doesn't anyway. In towards Bridge. Amazing corner. Such a shame it got scrapped effectively. I'm sure some of you will remember Jarno Trulli's large accident there in the Renault in 2004. Lost the back end out of Bridge, hit the wall at a really strange angle, and it ripped the car apart, rolled over multiple times, twisted around and everything. Carl Jacquelette's done a purple sector 1, almost, well, over 2 tenths quicker than anybody else at the moment. Will Steve Burke improve on his time? He does not. A 1:36.0. His fastest is a 1:35.4. Don't forget as well, once this session gets to 15 minutes, it ticks over and it is done. That's it. There is nothing else that can be done from that point onwards. Even if you're on a lap and it ticks to 15 minutes, you do not get time to finish that current lap. It's very savage like that. Brian Crowles is now, of course, in 10th position. He's in the pits, happy to sit there and wait. Niall Crowther wants to improve only a tiny bit, maybe a tenth of a second, which will put him into the top 10. Piling the lock on there. Might scrub off a bit of speed on the exit. Tries to keep the pace up, though. Now, what's Jacquelette going to do here? Is Carl going to go down the inside? He is. Niall's conceded it. Although it looks like they both conceded it a bit. Carl seemed to let off. Carl's made himself a bit of a nuisance for people in this session, in the fact that he's gone quicker than them all, and he's been right up behind them. Dodgy MOT having a bit of a rough season this time round. Josh Rayfield's had a rough season, but to get the silverware for Teams Champions, he is going to be very pleased. Now, it's 1.5 minutes round here. If Josh can get across the line in about 15 seconds, I reckon he's got another lap in him, but I don't think that's going to happen. He's got about 10 seconds, actually. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He should have crossed the line by now. Josh is not going to complete this lap before the end of the session, so we'll keep an eye on him anyway. He'll be the closest car to doing a full lap that we're going to see. But unfortunately, he will not complete this one. I wonder if he realises. Steve Burke will complete his. We know that much. Who else is quite far around a lap? Magic Sakovic, actually. He's into the final couple of corners. 7th on the grid at the moment. You can see some of the drivers happy to stay where they are. Others still pushing hard to get some rubber down and get the times in. Magic pushes hard out the final corner there of Luffield. Heads towards the line. Across he goes, hugs the right hand side a little bit. Does he improve? He does, but he stays in 7th. So no improvement there for Sakovic. We've got Luke Austin just crossing the line as well. What does he do? He goes up to 13th, a 1:36.297. Steve Burke now crossing the line as well. Stays 4th fastest. What can Niall Crowther do? Can he improve and beat Brian Crowell's time to get 10th and pole for the sprint race? No, he cannot. And I don't think Josh Rayfield is going to finish this lap. He is not. And that is the end of qualifying. The last qualifying session of the season. Which means that we have 3 points for Carl Jacquelette, 2 for Matt Draycott, and 1 for Michael Blake. Anyway, Brian Krause is on pole alongside Derek Robb, with Liam Silkstone and Maciej Sakovic on row 2. Calvin Dent right behind Maciej in 5th position, very interestingly, ahead of Josh Rayfield, car 6, P6. Steve Burke is 7th ahead of Michael Blake, with Matt Draycott and Carl Jacquelette on the 5th row of the grid. We then have Niall Crowther and Andy Fox, with Luke Austin and Jack Werrell at the back of the grid. So, final round of the British Boring Car Championship to come up after this one. But we've got a sprint race to get on with here, ladies and gentlemen. So this should be a lot of fun. 15 minutes. Place your bets in chat, everybody. Place your bets in chat. Who do you think we're going to see take this first race of the night? We're still waiting for Brian Crowles to take to the grid. Hence we're looking at Derek Robb. There is one of the championship fights though. Calvin Dent, 20 points ahead of Sakovic at the moment. Can he hold on to that over the course of the evening? We are about to find out as round 17 of the British Boring Car Championship from Silverstone is away. Looks like a bit of a poor start from Crowles. Blake has got ahead of Burke as well. Jacquelette's gone a bit slow in the background. Luke Austin's gained 4 places off the start. I'm not sure whether he jumped it or not. It's side by side between the two iRacing Hitters cars at the front though, because what a start from Liam Silverstone. Goes from third to second, although he's run out very, very wide indeed. Someone else has. Wow, Steve Burke goes flying out wide. He made contact with champion-to-be Dave Waldock here last season at turn 1. There's a tap between Derek Robb and Liam Silverstone. Stops it. Oh, no! Brian Crowles and Liam Silverstone flying formation off the circuit. It's gone from bad to worse for Ericsson Hitos. Derek Robb's gone off the circuit. Calvin Dent leads the race. Calvin Dent opens his account tonight in the best way possible. Takes the race lead. Josh Rayfield and Maciej Sakovic just behind. But that was just self-destruct mode for Ericsson Hitos there. Now what can Josh Rayfield do here? He's down the inside of Calvin Dent already on lap 1. He runs a little bit deep. He needs to give Calvin the room on the exit. Now Maciej Sakovic gets involved as well. Let's try and avoid the contact here, shall we, boys? Then you've got Blake and Burke, David Addison's favourite firm of solicitors. Side by side for the race lead, though. Look at this. Calvin Dent around the outside through bridge. Is he going to hold it to the inside? He doesn't hit the grass. It's one of the most important things to do around there. Manages to get it tucked in. Now what's going on behind? Steve Burke and Michael Blake right together again. Those two have swapped positions through bridge. Everyone just keeping it tidy. Oh, Draycott gets into Fox. Foxy sideways. Very sideways indeed. Oh, so close through there. But Calvin Dent, at the end of the first lap, leading this race from Josh Rayfield, Maciej Sakovic, Michael Blake, Steve Burke, Luke Austin has gained 7 positions in 1 lap. What a first lap from the independent. Certainly flying. Derek Robb and Liam Silverstone side by side further back. That's not friendly. Very close together. We've got cars off all over the place. Attacking the AstroTurf here at Silverstone. This is very feisty for 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th. Look at this, 2x2. Noah's Ark into Maggots and Beckett's. Burke down the inside of Blake. Burke's gone a bit deep by the look of it. Can they avoid contact? Can they ever? Fantastic stuff just ahead. 2 silver cars bouncing off each other. Can Calvin Dent take only his 2nd race win of the season? He only won 1 race, and that was round 2 back at Donington. Onto the brakes. Sakovic tries to tuck the car in. That sounds like a bit more contact behind. Foxy and Draycott right together. Oh, the overlay's doing this thing again. It just refreshes every now and then, and I really don't have a clue why. Side by side once again. Through bridge. Oh, Draycott might get a slowdown for that, you know. Doesn't need to do anything as Steve Burke has a massive drifting session. Sideways again. Safe rejoin, Steve. Another drift. Manages to get it back together. Flipping heck, Steve. That was lively. Lively from Steve Burke. I wonder if he had any help off the circuit. Let's have a look. He's got Luke Austin right behind. Did he just lose it on his own? Yeah, he just chucks it in really hard on the brakes. Completely sideways. Look at the lock that he put on to try and save it as well. Draycott now down the inside of Burke. Teammates at Team Lizard Motorsport in the World GT Championship in the previous season. Now Andy Fox in there as well. He's trying to get in on this. Let's go on board with him. Might just fit chasing down the Team Red Ring and Nodaphone cars. Nodaphone up against Team... might just fit in the Teams Championship. You can see the independents making a fantastic work of this at the moment. 8 places gained for Luke Austin. What a first lap he's had. Must have had a demon getaway. Into the Abbey hairpin once again. Draycott trying the outside on Steve Burke. I don't think he's going to carry the pace. And Andy Fox is now going to say thank you very much down the inside and try and make some advances there on him. Look at the train forming behind them. We've got Jack Werrell in there as well, just behind Carl Jacquelet. Carl not able to make many advances so far. He's only gained 1 place, and don't forget 2 of the cars that went off with the iRacing Hitters machines. Derek Robb trying to fight with Brian Crowles further back, and it's close at the front. Dent and Sakovic, the 2 independent fighters, doing a wonderful, wonderful job here. This is great stuff. Oh, we've got a car in the pits, and it is Jack Werrell. Mr. Werrell. Oh, he's parked it. Unfortunately, it's all gone Pete Tong for Jack Werrell. The cameraman nearly falls over as he spins round. Michael Blake now on the back of Josh Rayfield for this final podium spot. He wants more consistent points for Team Might Just Fit. He's on a run of 3 podium finishes so far as Michael Blake. He's had a great season recently. But look at this from Sakovic, all over the back of Calvin Dent for the race lead. Calvin needs to just hold this points advantage into the final race. As long as he scores, as it gets a bit nasty further back, I think. Maybe Jacquelet and Foxy making some contact. Not quite sure who that would have been. But as long as Calvin has a 20-point advantage or more than a 15-point advantage into the final race, he will be Mediocre Cup for Independence champion of the British Boring Car Championship. Both of these two, Car 88 and Car 28, showed us just how quick the Independents can be in the very first race of the season. Very first race meeting, actually. They led the championship after the first race meeting. I think Magic was just 2 points behind, and he's about 2 inches behind right now on Calvin Dent. Hopefully he doesn't put a dent in the car. There already is one. Oh, Calvin moves over a little bit. Just making sure there's no overlap. Maybe hinders Magic's run. Andy Fox all over the back of Carl Jacquelet now. What sort of pace can you carry around there? Andy's got a good run. Draycott's gone flying off the circuit and come back on. Now look at Rayfield. He's on the attack here on Magic Sakovic. Michael Blake wants a piece of it. The whole top 5 is together. Luke Austin just behind this. Fantastic drive from Luke so far. Oh, Derek Robb's gone off. Or well, he's lost places. They were moving around quite a lot. Him and Brian Crowles. Brian clips the gravel. Or the grass, I should say. Tries to get a switch back. Brilliant racing from those pair. More brilliant racing up front from these pairs. 7 minutes in. How's that gone by so quickly? Oh, Magic's gone deep. I think he might have given Calvin a tap there. Hopefully no 4x or 4 incident points for him. Josh tries to squeeze a little bit. Down through bridge. Right together once again. Look at that. Tasty stuff there. Sakovic holding him off really well and doing a great job to continue attacking while defending. Steve Burke has then got Draycott, Jacquelet and Foxy all lining up behind him. Oh, I think Matt's just got into the back of Steve there. Jacquelet is very close behind, so I know Draycott's probably driving in his mirrors. No, Foxy. Foxy must have got a drive through. Draycott's now got an overlap with Steve. Steve needs to be careful not to squeeze him too much. Jacquelet makes it 3 wide. Close your eyes. Someone needs to back out. I'd say it's the car in the middle, but look at that. Draycott makes it work. Through he goes. Oh, that was scary. Even if you're not involved in the series, you know that's scary. And Draycott then loses out on the exit. Okay. I was just looking back at the timing to see what other battles we had, but I've missed that. I missed the little drop off from Draycott. Maybe a slowdown penalty? Yeah, I think maybe a slowdown penalty by the look of it. Either that or he felt that he got past Steve due to contact and decided to give it back. Rayfield, by the way, has overtaken Maciej Sakovic. He's just done that into the hairpin, I believe. He's going to do it down here. Onto the brakes. Nice stuff from Josh. Gets it stopped when he needs to. On the power, nice and early. Beautiful. Still ahead, and now he's going for a race win. Josh hasn't won a race this season, and he really, really wants to. He was saying at Alton Park after clinching the team's championship that he wants to come here and take his first win of the season. He won here last season in one of the first race meetings we had. He won the feature race by a long shot from Jack Werrell. And look at this. There's nothing long shot about this at the moment. Blake right behind Sakovic. Two teammates at Team Mad on iRacing. They're glued together at the moment. Blake pushing him round. 10 minutes of the race gone now. 5 minutes to go. A third of the race left. Blake switches to the other side on Sakovic. Still no overlap. What can he do? Into Maggots and Beckett's. Can he get it stopped and tuck it inside? He cannot. No contact by the look of it. Luke Austin is waiting in the wings. Jackalet's then got Burke and Draycott right behind him as well. Doesn't look like it's going to be too dark for the start of this feature race, but don't forget it's half an hour long. So plenty of time for the light to die out. This is the first attack that Dent has come under from a different car in this race, other than Sakovic. Or it checked up a little bit there. They've all got their wits about them here. They know it's the final round of the season. It's their last chance to hold on to points. Look at Rayfield just all over the back of Calvin Dent. Great train of cars. Sakovic goes in a little bit hot. Oh, I think there might have been contact there between Luke Austin and Michael Blake. Didn't quite hear the noise. Now look at that. Sakovic has gone deep, so Blake's gone down the inside through Luffield. Can he make that stick? It'd be great if he does. That'd be a beautiful manoeuvre. But again, I just don't quite think he's managed it at the moment. Let's see if he can continue the run. Side by side down the straight into Copse. You can see how not straight that white line is. But this battling will help Josh Rayfield. It'll mean that Josh can try and break away from these guys and keep attacking Calvin Dent without any worries of what's going on behind. Look at Luke Austin trying to open the door as well. Great racing again here from the British Boring Car Championship. I told these guys to go out and enjoy it, take it a little bit easy and just make the most of it. Oh, was Rayfield and Dent come together? I don't think so. Oh, Matt Draycott. Oh, Steve Burke. Steve Burke has pulled over for the second race meeting in succession. Maybe contact. Let's have a look. They've got Jackalette just ahead. Oh, Steve goes into the back of Carl. Matt avoids it. I think maybe Steve's just not expecting Carl to break that early for that part of the circuit. Now this top five still going on. Still all together. Two and a half minutes of the race left to go. And in terms of a mathematical advantage as well, this will confirm Matt Draycott as the British Boring Car Champion if it finishes this way. Oh, they've both gone in as a drive-through. Oh, boys. I said keep it clean. And unfortunately, some of the care has gone, it seems. Liam Silkstone's now gained some more places and gone back up the order. Crowther's got more points, so has Rob. Austin and Crowther are actually tied on points coming into this race meeting. Be interesting to see how they come out of it. Oh, that's feisty stuff through there. Rayfield's a little bit... Oh my God, boys, don't do this. Rayfield was a little bit deep into Maggots and Beckett's there. Didn't look like he was going to get it stopped behind Calvin Dent. Manages to, somehow. Andy Fox is now fighting with Matt Draycott further down the order. Draycott actually the last car running at the moment. Ahead of only Burke and Werrell. But this top five has been phenomenal. Now, Josh Rayfield and Michael Blake. They're now side by side. Can this help Calvin Dent? well, in all honesty, Josh is going to have to, well, he's going to have to defend better than that. He knew Michael was going to go down the inside, though, so gives him the space. Respectful stuff. Now will Michael do the same? Josh runs a little bit deep, manages to avoid contact. And as we go on to the final lap, it's still side by side. Calvin Dent starting to break away here, nearly a second ahead. Michael Blake up to second. He started 8th on the grid. What a drive this has been from Michael Blake once again. Sakovic can just see that Independence Championship disappearing off in the distance in the form of Calvin Dent. He looks down the inside of Josh Rayfield. I was wondering how quickly Josh was going to come back on there. Flipping heck. Scary stuff. Now, can Michael go after Calvin in this final lap, you know? Has Michael got the pace to do it? He's shown that he's very, very quick here. He's got clear road ahead of him up to the back of Calvin Dent. Matt Draycott and Andy Fox still trying to get past Carl Jacquelet further down. I noticed that this was quite close. Who's going to do what? Oh, big hit from Matt on Andy. Matt ran it a bit deep. He's going to let him have the position back. But not long to go now for Calvin Dent. This will seal the Mediocre Cup for Independence Championship for him. Magic Sakovic just can't seem to do enough here. It's been a very, very valiant drive, I should say. Oh, as Rayfield goes to defend it, Sakovic has to wobble the car through the corner. Still side by side with Josh for the final podium position. But as long as we look ahead, it's not going to make a difference for Calvin Dent, who is going to come round the final corner here at Silverstone to win round 17, his second win of the season. And your new Mediocre Cup for Independence champion, everybody, is Calvin Dent. Take a bow, son. Beautiful stuff. Sakovic, what a fight back in the championship, considering he missed a lot of rounds. Luke Austin, great drive up to 5th. Beautifully done, my friend. Beautifully done. Liam Silverstone grabs 6th ahead of Derek Robb and Niall Crowther, 7th and 8th. Brian Crowles will get 9th position. And the final points will go to Carl Jacquelet for Team Netcode. Matt Draycott and Andy Fox still having a battle to the line. Draycott's just going to top him. They have a bit of argy-bargy across the line there. But Calvin Dent is your Mediocre Cup for Independence champion. And with that, with the 10-minute warm-up between the sessions, we'll pop some music on and we'll give you the race results. Wow. Well, that was a lively one, wasn't it, everybody? Calvin Dent takes the win and the Independence Championship with only 0.2 of a second back to Michael Blake. Josh Rayfield gets a very hard-earned podium ahead of Magic Sakovic with Luke Austin in the top 5. 3 Independents in the top 5. Mega stuff. Liam Silverstone finishes 6th with Derek Robb 7th and Niall Crowther in 8th. Brian Crowles is 9th with Carl Jacquelet in 10th. And your new British Boring Car Champion is Matt Draycott, despite not even getting any points there. Andy Fox finishes in 12th with Steve Burke in 13th. And Jack Werrell, unfortunately, parking it early in 14th. So we have no drivers going out on circuit yet, but we have a few people to interview, and the first of which has just become independent champion. Calvin Dent joins me in the box. Calvin, that's, only your second win of the season. It seems like forever since your first one, but you must be over the moon with that one, buddy. That looked like hard work.
Oh, mate, that was tough. I didn't have the pace there to really... If that was another 2 laps... I'd have seen Michael Blake soar off into the distance. It was just about trying to hold the guys behind me. I had Josh at one point, Majek, I had Michael. It just felt like everyone wanted a piece of me in that race. But yeah, no, I'm well happy with that. I'm not 100% sure that might have clinched me the Independence title.
It has indeed, mate. You have now got points enough to beat Magic Sakovic in the championship. Nothing Magic can do in this second race now can dethrone you. So well done, buddy. You've got a nice shiny trophy that you've seen before on its way to you after tonight. Is there anything that you sort of seen as a highlight this season other than maybe the wins? Is there anything else that you've picked up on that you'd enjoyed?
My highlight of the season is without a doubt Steve Burke at Alton.
Yeah.
That battle with Steve Burke was that was epic. But no, to be fair, the whole season's been a really good laugh. I've really enjoyed it. Like, to consider it's never a car I really consider driving. I've actually really enjoyed it. It's been a really good fun season. I'll be honest, I'm a bit gutted about those 3 weeks because I could have possibly been up on the big boy step, which is a little bit gutting because I know it was close. So it feels like kind of what could have been.
Yeah. Yeah, you usually get that in a season, especially when it's quite a short one like this. I mean, 18 races sounds like a lot, but when they come as thick and fast as they do, it's soon gone by. But it's been a pleasure, mate, and obviously one more feature race under lights to get it all finished, eh?
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be winning this one. They've got so much more pace than me around here. I'm just going to enjoy this one, to be fair. Now there's no pressure. It was all about trying to get as many points away from Magic as possible in race 1 and hopefully clinch the title. And then race 2, I might go and just have a laugh and enjoy it, not worry too much. But that first one was pretty tense. So yeah, it'd be nice to kind of chill out for half hour now.
Well, hopefully you can find it as chilled as possible, mate. But well done, and I'll hopefully speak to you at the end of the broadcast.
Tom, thanks, mate.
Cheers, mate. And another one, obviously, that we need to confirm it, don't we? At the end of the day, Matt Draycott, your new British Boring Kart champion. Matt, it's a shame, obviously, not having Jake here for the fight, but either way, you've clinched that championship, mate.
Yeah, I was quite looking forward to it, actually, with Jake, because I thought tonight would have been a bit spicy. And obviously, no disrespect to the series, but I am not as focused as I would be. That is why I'm not near the front. I'm just chilling out, especially after the day we've had. But yeah, it would. I do feel sorry for him because obviously, and at the end of the day, homework and schoolwork and stuff has to come first before sim racing.
Yeah.
But we were talking amongst ourselves about it, and we think that he definitely would have been if not first, if not just up there. Yeah, definitely it would have been. We would have made it difficult for him, I think. But yeah, happy, very happy.
I'm not surprised. I mean, you've done the clean sweep now. Teams Championship, Independence Championship, and overall Drivers Championship. Not the Drivers Driver Award, though that eventually went to Jake. But even still, I mean, coming into this season, did you expect to be able to do this? We knew, not to blow too much smoke up your backside, but we knew obviously last season you were quick with what you did in the Independents, finishing 3rd overall. But did you think it could go quite this far?
I didn't think that I would be able to win it, personally, because even though I did finish 3rd last year, I just thought that was mainly because of the consistency. I was constantly sort of up there. I didn't win a race last season. But then when I got the 2 wins at Brands, I thought this could potentially be on here. So a bit more practice through the week, and here we are.
Indeed, yeah. It's certainly been a wild roller coaster for you, but well done, obviously. And I'm sure you're going to go out and enjoy this final race now, are you?
Yeah. Me and Foxy had a bit of a laugh at the end there.
I'm glad it was a laugh. I was worried whether he was angry at you.
No. I let him have the place back when we went through the chicane-ish, whatever, I don't know what corner it's called. And in my car, I just would not turn right. So it did end up him hitting him. So I did let him back through, and then we had a bit of argy-bargy on the end, which was good, quite funny. We were fully laughing, which was good. So.
Well, it was certainly a lot of fun to watch in the end, but well done, like I say, very, very pleased, and of course, I enjoy this final one, and we'll speak to you a bit later.
Cheers.
Your new British Boring Car champion, Matt Draycott there, and you can see the shenanigans already kicking off in the post-race warm-up session, just for these guys to get ready. Andy Fox and Liam Silkstone having a bit of fun here. But we've got some very deserving champions now then. We have our Independence champion, overall Drivers champion, and of course Teams champions as well. Calvin Dent did a wonderful job to take that Independence title. And if I'm honest, Maciej Sakovic, what an amazing performance from Maciej. He missed so many race meetings due to other commitments, and then managed to come back, win 3 races out of the 4 that he took part in on his return, and really took the fight to Calvin at the end of the season. But just not quite the gap he wanted. Calvin had a lot of rotten luck as well in those times where Magic gained a lot of points on him. So it was always going to be interesting to see how the final round went. But Calvin, of course, taking that crown. Carl Jacquelet, another good drive from him there, to be fair. He tried to climb back up the order and still put in a lot of fights. Steve Burke as well. Another frustrating race for Steve. He's not had the end of the season that he really wanted here. And obviously we do hope for Steve that that improves in this final race and that he can come into this and properly enjoy it. Because at the end of the day, this series is all about enjoying it, and we hope that you have as well in watching it. I've certainly enjoyed broadcasting it and putting it on. And hopefully you've been able to put it with my voice the entire time. Hopefully it's not been too frustrating. Bit of sad news in a way though. The British Boring Car Championship will not be returning until at least the second half of 2021. I need to just make sure I'm focused on commitments elsewhere and see what free time is like for the British Boring Car Championship. But it will return, but dates unconfirmed for now. Hopefully we'll be seeing you all there for that, because I certainly do enjoy this, and so do the drivers. Anyway, we now have, as Carl on the national circuit by the look of it, we only have a couple of moments left of this warm-up session before the final race of the season, round 18 of the British Boring Car Championship. We only had 16 races last season. Just enjoying watching these cars go round again, I won't lie. It's just nice to have it, isn't it? These old classic liveries with a bit of humour thrown in. Oh, well, there you go. That is how you end a session like that. So your final grid of the season then in the British Boring Car Championship is this. Calvin Dent on pole position ahead of Michael Blake and Josh Rayfield, with Maciej Sakovic just behind. We'll shut the music up. Then it's Luke Austin, Liam Silkstone, Derek Robb, Niall Crowther, Brian Crowles, Carl Jacquelet, Matt Draycott and Andy Fox, with Steve Burke and Jack Werrell at the back of the grid. So here we go then, the final round, round 18 of the British Boring Car Championship from Silverstone under lights is away. Good start by Calvin Dent by the look of it. Michael Blake chasing him through there as well. Luke Austin has got the better of Josh Rayfield, who's lost 2 places. This car's running wide. Niall Crowther, one of them. Let's go to Blimp Cam, see if we can make sense of it. Look at those two at the front. Michael Blake all over Calvin Dent. Just in the middle, we've got Liam Silkstone down the inside of Josh Rayfield. Luke Austin sideways. Calvin Dent's off sideways. He's had a tap from Josh Rayfield. Sorry, not Josh Rayfield. Michael Blake and Maciej Sakovic is somehow leading the way. Down towards Abbey once again. Look at this, Niall Crowther on Brian Crowles. Look at that, late on the brakes from Niall. Good stuff. Derek Robb in the thick of it. Calvin Dent, though, down the order. Let's have a look at what it all sort of started with. So you've got Blake and Dent right together. Blake tries the cutback. Oh, they both go on the grass a little bit, and then as they're sliding wide, there's just that tiny little touch more. Luke Austin had a big moment on his own. Josh Rayfield also had a moment. I think Brian Crowell's may have been involved in that contact. No, it was Josh just on the grass. Big slide sideways. And now Crowther and Crowell side by side once again. Side by side still down the straight. Look at Foxy all over the back of Draycott as well on the right hand side of your screen. Round Crowther they go. Into Maggots and Beckett's the circuit. Certainly slippery around there. Oh, hello, Brian Krause. I wonder where he'd gone. Oh, there's contact there between Derek Robb and Steve Burke, and more again. Oh, Steve's sick of it. I'm not surprised. He's absolutely done with it. Derek Robb now side by side with Josh Rayfield. I feel a very unsatisfied Steve Burke out there this evening, unfortunately. Last two race meetings have definitely not gone his way. Sometimes they just need to chill out a bit. Michael Blake leads the way from Maciej Sakovic. He's just done that down at the Abbey hairpin. Liam Silverstone and Carl Jacquelet chasing them down in this fight as well. Look at this round Luffield. It's such a great circuit for this. You can follow so closely around here. As long as you don't make the tiny bit of contact and get those pesky 4x penalties, or 4x incident points I should say, or 4 times incident points, then you're absolutely golden. Sandy Fox and Niall Crowther right together. There is Foxy. Derek Robb has come in the pits already. I think those 2 bits of contact with Steve Burke is what's probably finished that off. Josh Rayfield just running a little bit wide there in the foreground. Side by side still between Crowther and Foxy. Teammates last season at Dodgy MOT. Oh, more contact into there. Calvin Dent gains the freebies. Oh, it looks like it's kicked off again. Josh Rayfield's gone off. Who was that before him? Brian Crowell is in there now. It's like the end of last season. School's out for summer. School's out for Christmas at this point. Now it's close between... Oh, there you go. That's how close. Between Silverstone and Jacquelet. Sakovic trying to come in to the middle as well, but these two have both got past Sakovic earlier in the lap. Let's have a look at how this happened. Just down the straight into turn 1. Are we going to see any contact? Silverstone chucks it up the inside. Sakovic goes to give room. Oh, the car gets very sideways and again. And just loses the momentum. And through he goes. So Liam Silverstone started 6th. Up to 4th. Brian Crowles is off the circuit. Another nightmare for Brian Crowles. Everybody's actually spread out already here in this half-hour race. We're only 5 minutes in. Flipping heck, boys. Calm down. We've got 5 off tracks for Brian Crowles at the moment, and Niall Crowther. That's 1 incident point apiece. You've got to then think about contact on top of that. Every 15 that they get is a drive-through. That is going to be changed for next time we do this. To make it a bit less harsh on the drivers. Now, what can Sakovic do about Silverstone? What can Jacquelet do about those cones? Marshals are going to be busy putting them back up. Draycott's up to 5th at the minute, 6 places gained. Same for Carl Jacquelet. He's just in the background there with Calvin Dent behind him. Silverstone having a very strong drive so far. It was a real shame about what happened in the first race. Look at this now. Maciej definitely on the attack. We'll look back, or dare we, from Liam Silverstone's car. Don't forget the pit window between 10 and 25 minutes in the race. I don't think Sakovic is willing to wait that long to get past Liam Silverstone. He looks down the inside to turn 1. He says, "You did it to me, I'll do it to you." Liam says, Nah, you're alright. I'll hang it around the outside and keep the pace. Niall Crowther right behind Andy Fox a bit further back. Andy trying to push now, but look, you can just see them going out of shot there. So close together. Magic tries to get some sort of cutback and drive around Liam Silverstone. As down the inside goes Majek. Tries to cover off the apex. Liam Silverstone manages to make it work somehow. And now he's gone down the inside at bridge, but no, it's not going to work. Into the final section of the lap. Oh, Liam's gone very deep into there. Carl Jacquelette's going to arrive on the scene. Liam needs to be careful braking on the grass. Covers off the inside line though. Very aggressive stuff. Draycott's now behind this. He's got the front row seat thinking, what have I got myself into here? A little bit of a blink in and out there from Silverstone's internet. That's not going to help Jacquelette and Draycott just behind him. Round Copse they go. They're just trying to hang on and use as little lock as possible to make sure that they do not scrub off the speed. Look at how smooth they try and be on the brakes. Oh, Carl's opened up the gap a little bit there. What can Draycott do? That's going to pry open the door towards the Abbey hairpin, but they've got to go left twice first. And that's not going to help him at all. Onto the brakes, into the Abbey hairpin they go. Brakes glowing here at the back. Oh, there's a hit from Jacquelette on Silverstone. I didn't realise he was that close to the back of him. Calvin Dent's in no man's land at the minute. He's 1 second off this and then 5.7 seconds ahead of Andy Fox. Well, what can your newly crowned champion do? It's down the inside of Carl Jacquelette on the brakes. Oh, contact on the apex. Matt went in a little bit hot. Still trying to get through Draycott. He's pushing so hard to get past. Neither of them come in for a drive-through or anything of the sort. And Draycott actually gets a nice switch back there. He got a good run down the straight. Can he make this work into Copse? Down the inside he goes. And through on Carl Jacquelette. Now Calvin Dent's actually suddenly arrived on the scene as well. He's in the picture now. What can he do about Carl Jacquelette? Oh, he tries to get a nice cut back into Maggots and Beckett's. Doesn't quite work for him. Has Carl gone in a little bit hot, though? Looked like it from there. Maybe not too much, though. Calvin can't get the run, and that's the thing. It's so difficult to get a good run out of there without being on the outside for the double left-hander. Now Calvin's down the inside into the Abbey hairpin on the brakes. A little bit hot, but manages to get it stopped. Gets on the power a bit earlier. What's he going to do about leaving room? Leaves plenty of it. Oh, Carl making sure that Calvin goes over to the right-hand side. Turns in. Oh, wasn't a whole lot of room left there. Jacquelette later on the brakes, though, manages to get it stopped. Carl just hanging on here. Oh. As we have a little bit of a replay overlay there. Or a reload of the overlay, I should say. It's been doing this recently. As we've got Andy Fox and Niall Crowther both in the pits, unfortunately. Although I say unfortunately, it's probably just a scheduled stop. I was assuming it was a drive-through of some sort, but no. Jackalet's somehow holding on ahead of Calvin Dent. We'll go on board with Calvin again, see what he can do. Oh, Carl's gone in well too hot there. Now Calvin's got the run, and he's on the outside. However, while he's going to be on the inside for the next corner, he needs to make sure the run doesn't disappear by being on the outside. Can he be later on the brakes and get this move completed? Brake disc's really glowing. He does get it stopped nicely on the apex, on the power, and away he goes. But now Carl Jackalet's got a good run down the inside towards Bridge. But Calvin Dent, oh, wheel on the grass. Just trying to see how much time he had to gain on the guys ahead, because he seems to be on good pace at the minute. But that's not going to help him. Flipping heck. But he's now ahead of Carl Jackalet. Now, who's going to pit late here? Michael Blake still leads the race by 1.4 seconds. Majek is only 0.3, less than that now, ahead of Liam Silkstone. Draycott up to 4th. It's close between Brian Crowles and Luke Austin as well. You can tell when the cars have had a bit of a hit on the front because the headlights don't seem to be on when you see them side on. But they still get the actual glint of the lights from the front, which we're going to see now. There you go. And then as soon as they go sideways, the sort of glint disappears. There you go. Crowles has actually cleared him by quite a bit there. Sakovic gets a good run out of the Abbey hairpin, and he's opened up the gap a little bit to Liam Silkstone. Who's going to be the first to blink, though? Who's going to pit ahead of who? Plenty of grass there for Sakovic. There is actually some really harsh slowdown penalties around here if you just take a bit too much grass on the inside of some of these corners. Close again between Dent and Jackalet. No pit stops for any of those guys. No pit stop for Josh Rayfield either. What's Brian Crowles going to do? Looks like he's pitting. He is. And he goes. So Foxy and Crowther, two highest placed cars that have pitted so far. As you can see on the left, I've got to see where they come out in comparison to Brian Crowles, as we're near the halfway point now. And pop, there's 15 minutes. We're into the last half of the race, in the last race of the season now. Now, Michael Blake's advantage at the front has disappeared very quickly. I think he might have had a poor run through Maggots and Beckett. It's either that or Sakovic has really turned it on now in terms of the pace, because the gap has gone down from 1.5 seconds to just 0.6 of a second. As I said in race 1, these two teammates at Team Mad. Majek recently taking part in a day at Knock Hill, I believe, in the Citroen C1. An ever popular little race car, becoming more and more popular as things go on. Him and his team boss Dave Crozier driving that wonderful little machine. I would love a go in one of them, to be fair. They do look like a real laugh. The top four, a little bit spread out now. There's anywhere between a second and half a second between them. Blake thinks, I'm not fighting any of this. Sakovic goes in with him. What does Liam Silkstone do? He also goes in, but Draycott stays out. Draycott continues. Calvin Dent does as well. Carl Jackalet goes with him. He won't be pleased about that, having Carl on his 6 for another lap. It's a good thing you can't flash the headlights on this car, because these boys would do a lot of it. Is Niall Crowther then somewhere in the abyss trying to chase down Andy Fox? You can see the brake discs just trying to cool down slightly here, but they're under a lot of strain. And Michael Blake's on his way out of the pit lane, and it looks like Liam Silverstone has jumped Maciej Sakovic. He has. Sakovic in the pits for 3 seconds longer. Sorry, 2.6 seconds longer than Silverstone, and look at the difference that's made. Big difference there. Sakovic is still some 12 seconds ahead of Andy Fox, so nothing to worry about there. As all these guys getting used to how the car handles on the first lap out of the pits. They do have to take tyres in this championship. As part of the mandatory stop, you do have to take at least 2 tyres. Some of them only take one side, because the tyres and fuel last forever in this car. So some of them do only take one side, and as you can imagine, the car handles very strangely on the first lap back out of the pits. Now, who's going to pit out of these pair? I feel that if, whenever Dent pits, Jacquelette's going to pit, because he's just going to try and stay on his 6 and put the pressure on. And they go through once again. Matt Draycott's come in the pits, though. And there is the inevitable siren welcoming Draycott into the pits. And there's another one as well for Josh Rayfield, his teammate, making his way into the pit lane. Luke Austin stays out. So Michael Blake, highest placed car that's pitted so far. And where is he going to be in relation to Rayfield and Draycott? Rayfield is still on his way to his box. Draycott gets away now. But there is Michael. Michael goes past Draycott. Is Silverstone going to do the same? Looked like a quick stop from Draycott. Is Draycott going to be ahead of Sakovic? Maybe with that run. Looks like he is. Draycott manages to gain a place then. Sakovic loses 2 to Silverstone and Draycott. Matt now on for a theoretical podium as things stand, but there's still over 10 minutes of the race to go. Oh, and there you go, Matt. Have that, says Sakovic. A hit in the rear. Maybe a bit of an unnecessary one. Pushing very hard indeed, Maciej Sakovic. Wouldn't expect anything less. Down the inside. Oh, more contact. Draycott says, no thank you, mate. Off you go. I don't want any of that. Josh Rayfield and Niall Crowther are side by side as well, coming into the Abbey hairpin. On the brakes they go. These cars look strange when they're in the dark, don't they? Oh, Josh tries to get on the power as early as possible, pushes it in, and look, just as expected. Calvin Dent in the pits, Carl Jacquelette going with him. Now what's Luke Austin going to do? One of the only car not to pit now. In he comes, just within the 20-minute mark. Michael Blake still leads the way. Liam Silverstone just second ahead of Sakovic. Now going to be intrigued to see, does Draycott have a drive-through from that? He doesn't. Whether he's just not serving it on this lap or not remains to be seen. But Michael Blake goes through then, re-inherits his overall race lead. Calvin Dent and Carl Jacquelette on their way out of the pit lane. Dent just behind Draycott. Jacquelette's actually been dropped a little bit there by Calvin Dent as they come out of the pits. So it's Liam Silverstone still holding on to second place at the moment. Maciej Sakovic, though, is piling on the pressure. He wants to go and close that Independence Championship points lead, even if it's already been wrapped up. He wants some honours for getting close. And he is driving the wheels off that Jetta at the moment. Sakovic then on his way to go and chase down Michael Blake now, I imagine. Still close between Crowther and Rayfield, a little bit further back as well. These two having their own little scrap. As wow, Rayfield manages to pry the door open. Crowther running a bit deep there. And now Josh Rayfield up into 8th place. We'll look back at this fight near the front of the field. Silverstone under pressure from Draycott. Side by side into Maggots and Beckett's. That's close stuff. Need to be careful on the brakes into there. Everyone has slightly different braking patterns through there. Not sure if Draycott will get a slowdown penalty for how much he went over the grass on the exit. But he's eyeing up a podium spot once again. Bit of a lock up there from Silverstone. Calvin Dent's not too far off this, 2.3 seconds back with 7.5 minutes left of the championship, not just this race. 7.5 minutes left of the series, or this season of it at least. Like I said, it will be back, the British Touring Car Championship. Do not get me wrong. So the gap from Michael Blake to Maciej Sakovic now 1.4 seconds. We'll keep an eye on that the next time they come through. Down the straight once again. Across the line it was 1.43 seconds that time round. Into Maggots and Beckett's again. It just doesn't look like... Draycott may have said he's taking it a little bit easy. He might not be as focused tonight, but doesn't seem to be pushing as hard. Rayfield is now closing up to the back of Andy Fox for 7th position. Down towards the Abbey hairpin once again. Seems like these drivers just fade away into the abyss at night, doesn't it? The final race always has to be under challenging conditions, adds a bit of drama to it. Now what can Rayfield do about Foxy? We'll go on board with Josh in the Team Red Ring car. Newly crowned reigning teams champions. Down the inside he goes. Nice stuff from Josh again. Just making that line work, but can Foxy come back at him? Foxy is later on the brakes, gets his nose down the inside. Lovely stuff. You can see the amount of lock that Andy's putting on to make sure he doesn't hit Josh. These cars very sensitive to incident points when they do have a little bit of a tap. And these guys have been more and more courteous to that as the season has gone on. Down the straight once again. We'll go on board with Foxy this time. 5 minutes of season 2 of the British Boring Car Championshiping. British Boring Car Championship left to go. Andy carries a bit more speed through Copse there, a bit smoother. Ball's out to the left of Josh Rayfield. Closes off Josh's line through there. Andy tries to switch it one way then the other. Either that or he was just out of shape. It was a slide. And look at this, by the way. Sakovic attacking Michael Blake. He's creeped that one up on us. Bit of a lock up there on the right rear for Michael Blake. Doesn't manage to do it. Now these pair are side by side as well. Both of them might just fit cars in fights with Silver Machinery. We will have a look back at Michael Blake and Maciej Sakovic just after this. Does Josh hold on to it down the inside? Gets it stopped nicely. Gets on the power that bit earlier. He is ahead. But this is the fight for the race lead with less than 5 minutes to go. Michael Blake wants to take his first race win of the season. Maciej Sakovic wants to tie with Matt Draycott and Jake Robertson on his 4th win of the season. Michael Blake currently the highest placed driver in the championship without a race win. And I believe if he does so, he will overtake Steve Burke in the championship. And potentially even Calvin Dent, He's certainly making a strong bid to jump potentially into the top 3 in the standings. Andy Fox still close to Josh Rayfield as well, a little bit further back. Pops out of the slipstream, has a look. Just trying to get into Josh's head here. And Sakovic has gone down the inside of Blake into Maggots and Beckett's. Now will he leave room? Sometimes the cars do bounce around a bit round there. Through he goes. Magic now goes to the left. Maybe trying to get some sort of cutback on the exit of the Abbey hairpin. But look at that, Michael gets it stopped and gets on the power even earlier than Magic does. And he clears off. Oh, Calvin Dent tries it on Liam Silverstone. Previous teammates, these two as well. So they've definitely fought together before. Definitely no love lost by the look of it. But still, with 2.5 minutes to go, that's 2 more laps in this race. Michael Blake is somehow holding on to his race lead. We'll look back from the Might Just Fit car at Maciej Sakovic in the independent entry. Further down the order, by the way, Andy Fox is still with Niall Crowther. Look how aggressive the Jetta can look in the dark. It's like the Batmobile TDI. Magic so close to the back of his teammate. He doesn't get much of an overspeed there, but he'll get a bit of slipstream out of there. Dent and Silverstone are swap places behind as well. Dent alongside him. Dent's on the left, Silverstone's on the right. From where we're sat anyway. Now Dent's on the right, Silverstone's on the left. Nearly making contact. I think there might have been a bit of a tap. Down towards the Abbey hairpin. Hard onto the brakes. Dent gets it slowed up. Oh, needs to leave more room than that. Scary. Scary stuff. Still side by side as they go down towards bridge. Oh, bit of contact there. Dent committed to the corner. I think Liam might have just turned in a little bit too much and just tapped the side of his ex-teammate. I think there may still be teammates at Excite. Sorry, boys, if you are. Don't mean to cause drama at Excite. Liam all over the back of him now, but onto the final lap of the race. And the final lap of the season goes Michael Blake. Maciej Sakovic looking for his 4th win, like I say. Michael looking for his 1st this season. He won, I believe, 1 race last season as well. So he wants to make this 1 each season at least. What can Sakovic do? If anything, you know, Michael's holding this really, really well at the moment, staying composed. Sakovic takes a really wide line into Beckett's to try and get a run. It just doesn't work. He takes out all the cones again. Those poor cones. Right on the corner of his teammate. Matt Draycott's in 3rd place behind this, so he's going to be happy with a podium to round out his season if he stays there. And Silverstone still attacking the back of Dent. Calvin's had a really strong final meeting to turn his luck around. Blake and Sakovic still side by side then. This is going to decide the race. And potentially decide some of the top positions in the championship as well. I'll have to do the maths afterwards. Through bridge they go. Sakovic only leaves the room that Blake needs, but he's on the inside into the complex. Do they leave each other enough room? They do, just about. There's only 2 corners to go. They're still side by side. Sakovic is now going to be on the outside for the final corner. Blake's on the inside. He's on the gravel. Gets the car straightened up. Tucks it back down the inside. What can Sakovic do? Avoid contact, boys, or one of you is going to get spat off here. Still side by side around the final corner. Sakovic is going to get the run, and the very last corner of the championship is going to be side by side, but it's going to be Michael Blake who takes the final race win of the season. Beautiful drive. Matt Draycott wins the championship. Calvin Dent is independent champion, and Liam Silverstone finishes 5th after a very hard-fought battle. Carl Jacquelet 6th place. Josh Rayfield is going to cross the line 7th, only 1.1 seconds ahead of Andy Fox, with Niall Crowther taking 9th, and Luke Austin is going to be the final point scorer in this race. Brian Crowles, Derek Robb, Steve Burke and Jack Werrell will all be non-finishers, but what a drive by Michael Blake. What an awesome performance. My voice is completely gone. My voice has completely gone, but another beautiful race to round out the season. And the British Boring Car Championship Season 2 has officially come to an end. Maciej Sakovic, great second place for him. Just behind your winner, Michael Blake. You can't say Maciej didn't try. Matt Draycott, a podium to round out what's been a wonderful campaign. Calvin Dent, 4th place and a win tonight. Can't be too upset with that one. Excuse me. Liam Silverstone finishes just behind him in 5th place. Can't say he wasn't trying either. Carl Jacquelet 6th, ahead of Josh Rayfield in 7th and Andy Fox in 8th place. Then you have Niall Crowther in 9th and Luke Austin rounds out your points finishers. Brian Crowles unfortunately 8 laps down, with Derek Robb 17 laps down. 18 laps down for Steve Burke as well, and Jack Werrell did not take the start. Wonderful little show here by the guys, all staying 2 by 2. Absolutely love that. These guys have honestly, while there has been the odd bit of drama here and there, the odd bit of driving that you could say, oh, that was questionable, these guys have honestly been wonderful to work with, and I really do appreciate the patience and everything that these guys put into it. The effort they put into the racing and trying to keep it as clean as possible. We all know that these cars are hard to keep clean in races like this. And I'm sure we're going to see some wonderful donuts here in these Jetters. They're all going to stop on the straight, I think, and all do some donuts together. Where's your champion, Matt Draycott? I think he's already started them and already put it in the wall. Or are they lining up for a picture? This will be pretty epic if they do this. Let's see how well they can pull this off then without any guidance. Actually, we'll have to go back to the... let's go to the blimp cam. No, it's too vertical. Well, this is a final bit of entertainment for us, isn't it? We've currently got Maciej Sakovic just reversing into place. And then Andy Fox is going to slot in as well. Andy putting it on a much tighter angle than Maciej, just blocking him off. You've then got Calvin Dent. Luke Austin doesn't give a damn. Calvin's now going to reverse into Andy. Go on, boys. Oh, it's like Tesco car park. Foxy's car, it's like you've not unlocked it yet. Josh Rayfield getting in there as well. And Carl Jacquelet. This is beautiful, boys. It's like a oh, I know what they're doing, actually. It's just ticked. Did you hear that click in my head then? Did you hear that click as I said to myself, Le Mans start? They all sound like they're revving the knackers off them as well. The cars are moving around a bit. I think maybe they're all actually revving them to do a Le Mans start. We'll have to see how well this goes if they do it. Are they pulling off maybe 1Y1? No, Draycott's doing some sort of... I haven't asked them to do this. This is just what they're doing. I think they're just lighting it up for Matt. Awesome stuff, though. Oh, everybody. And out of all of them, it's your champion that ends up on his roof. He was a spinning top at Alton Park. And now he's done it again here. His teammate tries to help him up. And wow. How do we sum up that season, guys? How do we sum up that season? I don't know. Do you? Well, I'm glad you guys have enjoyed it. It's certainly been a lot of fun to broadcast it. We're going to go very, very far back in time to what was the start of the race. And, well, we'll grab our very first interview after the end of this race, which is Carl Jacquelet joining me in the box. Carl, that was a lot of fun by the look of it. Bit of contact here and there, but door-to-door stuff all the way through once again.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. It was, I really struggled at the end because I can't see in the dark.
Oh, heck. Well, if you would have told me that, I would have done it in daytime.
Yeah, I really, really struggle when it's dark. That's why I don't do 24-hour races. I just can't see.
Yeah.
I was all right when I was up behind Calvin. I could just follow him round. But unfortunately, we developed a second gap between us in the pit stop, so I just couldn't see enough then and just fell back. But I had great pace. Got my first pole.
Indeed, yeah. I was going to say, I mean, the pole position was, I mean, you've shown that you've had pace in qualifying all season, haven't you? But to finally get that pole in the last round must have been quite special, really.
Yeah, I was waiting for someone to beat it. I thought it was too good to be true. There'd been faster laps in practice. But it was the first lap I'd done all night. That was actually in the draft all the way, so I was well chuffed.
Not surprised, mate. Not surprised. And what have you made of the whole series again? Then obviously, slightly more successful than last season, but in a very, very powerful way.
Yeah, we don't talk about last season anymore. This season's been great. I had a bit of an off bit in the middle. I think it was probably my pedals failing a little bit before and hadn't noticed. Then I went and got COVID, and well, that was a disastrous week. And then last week I was actually driving on a button for the throttle.
It's literally on or off.
It was on or off. The throttle pedal had packed up, so using a joystick emulator, I programmed a button for the throttle, so it was just yay or nay.
Well, it certainly worked for you, mate. Your pace has been a lot better this season, and if I'm honest, I mean, in case you haven't seen any of the broadcasts back, you are definitely my most improved driver this season, so well done on that.
Oh, cool. Thank you very much.
Just been great to watch, honestly. Your progress from last season has been mega. A podium and then the next round of race win and a pole, you know, you've done it all this season, so it's nice to see it, mate, in all honesty. I do have to shimmy on, though, with more interviews, but do you have anyone you want to give a final shout-out to this season?
Shout out to Matty. He's done really well. It was nice to murder him after that last race.
Yeah, that was very entertaining, actually.
And all the staff of the NHS at the moment who are under such enormous pressure.
Nicely said, Carl. Well, thank you again for racing this season, Carl. Pleasure as always, and hopefully we'll see you when we do this again.
Yeah, looking forward to the next one.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks.
Carl Jackalette there for Team Netcode, and somebody that wasn't too far out of sight for the whole of that race, especially at the very end. I think it was 63 thousandths of a second separating the two. Michael Blake, mate, you finally did it this season. You got that elusive win again. Well done.
Yeah, it's not about night races, because it was a night race that's not one as well last season.
It was, yeah. That's very true, actually. I didn't click on the theme, but coming into tonight, I mean, you showed that you had great pace in that first race. Calvin reckons you could have had him if he was sort of giving you the time, if the race was a bit longer, I should say. But that second one, you just seem to have it all under control from the get-go.
Yeah, since the last update, I don't know what it is, but it just works for me. Like the last two meetings, I've been one of the quickest cars. Wish it had come out earlier in the season.
Well, I did say in the broadcast, you know, you had a torrid start to the season, so did your teammate Andy Fox. It was very up and down. It was everybody getting used to new drivers and so on. But, I mean, for the team, it's been a great end to the championship, hasn't it?
Yeah, we've really sort of hit our stride the last couple of rounds, and did we do enough? I haven't checked the points yet. Did we do enough to get second in the teams?
Yes, yeah, you would have definitely done. Steve Burt didn't get any points tonight, and you and Andy both scored points in both races, I think. Yeah, Andy got points in that one as well, so you would have definitely confirmed second at least in the championship there.
Nice.
So a nice little turnaround for the end of the season. Obviously, maybe a while until season 3, but can we expect to see you back again? Depends, I suppose.
I think this might have been my last boring car. So it depends what night it's on. But I've already committed to 2 leagues for 2021.
Yeah.
I just can't do a third as well. Mrs. will absolutely castrate me.
Well, that's fair enough, mate. It's been a pleasure to have you either way, whether we see you back or not. You know, it's been awesome, and to get those wins, it just shows how much of a front runner you can be as well on the night. Anybody you want to give a shout out to before you go?
You've putting this on. All the guys that made it a good season. everybody at Team Mad. Big shout out to Macho, my teammate at Team Mad, for that last race, because a lot of people would have put me off there. I thought I'd put myself off with 2 corners to go, but he left just enough room. That was a great fight.
Yeah, it certainly looked like fun. Well done tonight, Michael. Pleasure as always. Thank you very much for joining us this season, and hopefully we'll see you next time round.
Cheers, mate. Take care.
Cheers, you too. And from one might just fit car to the next, it's Andy Fox joining us in the box, you could say. Andy, now we know that you've had rotten luck this season. You know, it's not been the easiest for you, but you've had good rounds, you've had bad rounds. What have you made of it overall?
As you say, it's been a bit of a mixed season, I think it's fair to say, for me, but it's still been a pretty good laugh. Really enjoyed it. Even that last race there, battling with Josh at the end for the last few laps. It's a good championship. Everybody's really quick, everybody's close together, and it gets some really, really good racing.
Yeah, it seems to always be close. We've obviously spoken about the whole incident point situation, but it's certainly been an entertaining one. You and Michael have actually pulled it back to end up second in the teams championship as well, which is a really good turnaround, isn't it?
Yeah, considering where we started off, we were sat there thinking, this is not going so well for defending champions. But yeah, we've Michael, to be fair to him, he's pulled it round big style these last few rounds.
Yeah, I think he's scored 5 podiums in a row at the end of the season, so he's had a mega run, and I think he's right up there in the title hunt. Season 3, as mentioned, not sure on a date yet, but could we expect to see you on the grid again, do you reckon?
Oh, definitely. Without a doubt.
Well, that's always good. Nice as well to see you have a little scrap there with Josh Rayfield, and of course your ex-teammate Niall Crowther in that last one, actually. I was going to bring that up. That seemed like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was funny. Niall was sat there saying, "Oh, we're teammates. We know how much room to give each other," and then
hit you.
Yep.
That's Niall.
All good.
Oh, swinging his bits around. Anyway, Andy, pleasure as always, mate. Thank you very much for racing with us this season. Do you want to give a quick shout out before we fling you back into the Discord chat?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, massive thank you to you for putting this all on. It's a lot of hard work and a lot of commitment from your side and from all the other drivers. Massive thanks to Michael for the teammate for this year. He's been really good, and we've had a good effort and a good season together. So yeah, and obviously, last of all, my brother is always in the chat.
Yeah,
asking about somewhere. And yeah, and everybody else that follows me and watches me.
Awesome stuff. Great to speak to you,
See
Andy.
you all next season.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, mate, and we'll see you very, very soon.
Cheers, Chaz.
Cheers. Who next? Well, I'll tell you who next. Newly crowned independent champion, Calvin Dent. Calvin, you wanted to go out and have a bit more of a chilled final race. That wasn't the case.
Yeah, it was an interesting race, that. Yeah, I messed up massively at the start. Yeah, that went all horribly wrong, but I pulled it back a bit. I thought Carl Jacqueline was going to overtake me at one point. So yeah, good race, and then a bit of like playing bumper cars with Silky at the end of that.
Yeah, it's always a bit of a strange one, isn't it, in these cars, because the racing can be so close, but at the same time, you're always just on the edge of getting that horrible 4 incident points, aren't you?
It's not. It was the darkness that made it horrible, because you're suddenly trying to work out where your braking lines are, and then when you've got a car like going through, I think it was turns 2, 3, and 4, and then maybe 5 side by side with Liam. That was quite hairy. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting race, that one. But I'm happy with that. Although, if I'm right, I could be wrong on this. Michael Blake has clinched 3rd.
I think he might have done. You know, he had
a
mega night. So I've not done the points yet because I don't have the confirmed results. Because as soon as the race finishes, the results disappear on my screen. So we'll have to go back into that. But I think he may have done it. So
yeah,
be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, like I said to you when the first one I got in Silverstone, I just wanted to go for the independence this season, get used to the car, enjoy it, have fun, and then next season, let's go for the overall win.
Well, teams championship. Obviously, Michael and Andy ended up second after Michael's big turnaround. But in terms of the independents, I mean, not to sort of bring it up too much, but hats off to Magic really as well, because what a turnaround he had with the last 2 race meetings.
I mean, him at Alton, like to come in. I mean, both if you look at Alton and today, he came in like 3 minutes before quali, so he did all of his practice in quali in both rounds, and still was really competitive. And he got, is it top 3 in both races, or was it 4th in race 1?
I think it was 4th in race 1, yeah, but still, like you say, another good night for him, but kept you on your toes, but you still come away with it as champion.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, hats off to Magic, but yeah, I know I'm happy to get the win. Like I said, in the last one, a bit gutted I had those 3 weeks off, but yeah, it's next season's going to be all to play for. I think it's going to be very, very close for the whole season.
It will indeed, mate. Well, great to speak to you as ever. Like I say, mate, I'm sure we'll be playing Rocket League again before you know it. But is there anybody you want to say hello or thanks to before we finish up?
Oh, on this one, I'm going to have to give thanks to Andy Fox for getting me into it, for like kind of encouraging me to give it a go. As always, all of the Excite lads and everyone. To be fair, this season, it's been a great laugh. I've met some great people. I've made some really good friends just by doing this championship. So it's it's been a cracking season, and thanks for hosting it. To be fair, mate, it's been awesome.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed yourself, Calvin. And like I say, season 3, I'm sure we'll see you there.
Looking forward to it.
Cheers. Your reigning Independence champion, everybody, newly crowned champion, Calvin Dent. And speaking of champions, one of the drivers in the team's championship, Josh Rayfield, obviously part of Red Ring, the team that's just clinched that title. Josh, you had a lot more work to do tonight again, didn't you, mate? Nearly got that win in race 1, but that was a busy one.
Yeah, race 1, it was trying to keep the 4Xs to a minimum, as that's been what's kind of helped me back this season, I feel. And I felt like I was faster than Calvin, but I knew Calvin was fighting with Magic for the Independence, so I thought I'll sit behind, and I said to him in Discord, mate, I'm not going to pass you because I know like you're kind of battling here, and I know you kind of need as many points as you can get.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to hold him off, try and hold Magic off for him, and then Michael got through. I was holding him off, and then he just squeezed that little gap open. Yeah, but it was really good racing. It was clean racing. I think I genuinely only had one 4X tonight, and that was coming out the hairpin with Magic, and that was on me just because I did run a bit wide into the side of him. But yeah, it was clean racing all night, and yeah, really enjoyed it, to be honest.
And what have you made of the whole season? I know it's not been the easiest for you, this one, but you've still been a front runner for a lot of it.
I feel like this season could have gone so much better than it has. Like there's been so many chances that I could have had a win, but I've just messed it up on just me in general, just me making mistakes or getting a drive through, or just little things that can make such a difference to the championship. And yeah, for instance, the first round, because obviously I missed the first round, so it would have been the second round. I was leading the race ahead of Jake, and I just made the smallest mistake, and it cost me the win.
Yeah,
it's just been small things like that all season, which have kind of been just holding me back. And yeah.
Well, fingers crossed when we get to season 3, mate, which obviously is still unconfirmed date-wise, but I hope we'll see you there. Can we expect that?
Yeah, mate. Again, I'll be there, definitely.
Protecting that team's championship as well. But yes, awesome racing as ever, Josh. You know, one of the most exciting drivers on the grid, hands down. Do you want to give a quick shout-out to anyone?
Yeah, shout out to you for the series, Matty, Darren, Connor, Gavin, my mum, my dad, Calvin, for obviously spamming the magnetic shifters. Just anyone who supports me, really. Yeah.
Love it. Great to speak to you, Josh. Thanks again.
Cheers,
and we'll see you
soon.
Cheers. And our penultimate interview of the evening, a lad that was involved in many a fight there, and many a contact, and many a slide, and a bit of everything, and self-destruct on lap 1 in race 1. Liam Silkstone joins us in the chat. Liam, that was a bonkers night for you, mate. I imagine you're either really angry or really happy with that.
Neither. No, I don't know. More confused. It's like, why am I at the front? Anyway, it was good fun. It's race 1. Yeah, I went off at turn 1 because it was just, where's my braking point? That's his. I'm going to follow. Oh no, hold on. No, I'm going the wrong way. And then everyone in front of me got drive-throughs. So all I'm aiming for was just to beat Andy Fox in the points, which I think I've done. So I was just like, right, Andy's in, sound. And then everyone else is in. Right, okay, what's going on here? And then I just got a good start in race 2. Just stayed in the tow. I wasn't going to fight Magic because everyone's quicker down there. You know what I mean? You saw the breakaway pack.
Yeah.
If I can just sit in the tow, I'll just manage it towards the end. And then Pit stops went well, and then I was just slow coming out. Tyres went, so not else interesting.
Well, it certainly looks interesting from up here, mate. Obviously, your first season in the championship with Ericsson Hitters. What have you made of it overall? I know that it's a bit of a bonkers one, isn't it?
Mega. I know I ain't been in the chat. I've had other stuff to deal with, so I've just literally kept myself out of it. I've enjoyed the races. It's kept me going. You know what I mean? It's a rough few weeks and that, but it's the racing. It's great. The banter's great. The racing's great. And as we're all having a chat there, we all sit and talk, you know what I mean? It's not just the racing, it's what goes on behind the scenes, all the having a laugh with the drivers, having the practice, we're doing a session when it's finished, you know what I mean? So it's been a great just team thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the community behind it gets unbelievable, really. I mean, every round, you know, there's more and more banter, there's more and more fun being had, and that's the main thing of it, and I'm really glad to hear that you guys still have that. If we have a season 3, obviously mid next year, can we expect to have you on the grid, mate?
Easily, yeah.
Oh, smashing. Well, there you go. That's a definite answer. I love it.
Oh,
love that certainty. But
never, oh no, I don't know. It's, oh yeah, of course. What did you do on a Thursday?
Well, it's been great to have you, Liam. Thank you very much for joining us this season. And, of course, as ever, do you want to give a quick shout-out or a mention to anybody?
It's going to have to be yourself for all the hard work you put into it, all the points, all the paints, just getting everything on board. The rule book, which I did read because I didn't know what track it was. I was like, we're doing Silverstone twice. What Silverstone is it? So I messaged chat. No, I'm just going to read the rule book and I'll just But no, you guys just for doing the great streams and that. So I don't really think there's anyone else to shout out but yourself for making sure everyone's on point and everything runs smoothly.
Thank you very much, Liam. Well, pleasure as always, mate. And I'm sure we will speak again very, very soon, mate. Have a good evening.
And yourself.
Cheers. And finally, we will round out the season and round out this broadcast with a chat with our newly crowned champion, Matt Draycott. Matt, going into this season, you know, you were confident. You and Josh wanted to take the team's championship minimum, but you've come out of this on top. And you came out of it on your roof as well after a little celebration at the end. I love that. Oh, I don't think he's there. Is he going to miss his chance to have his interview? Is he late?
No, I'm here.
He's here.
I'm here. No, I said to the boys in the chat that we should give a little ending for you. So I said, look, line up like Le Mans style, even though it's very far away from that. Those cars. And then when everyone's lined up, I was like, right, I'm going to take the little limelight. But then they all decided to maliciously attack me.
Well, I did say, just while commentating on that bit, that you ended up in that as you did at Alton Park on your roof. If we go back a week, obviously, to that first race, it could have been very, very different tonight, couldn't it?
Yes, and even though obviously I was champion from the start because Jake didn't rock up, but yeah, I think I would have been a lot more relieved if we had this conversation and Jake was in the races. A lot more relieved because it would have been a lot more stressful.
Bit of an interesting way around of thinking about it, but I suppose at the same time, if you know what he's doing, then yeah, there's a bit more certainty of where you are compared to where he is, I suppose. Obviously, Team Red Ring, team's champions as well. Josh incredibly happy about that, as we can tell in his voice most of the time. But I mean, it's been a nice clean sweep really for you, and obviously if we do season 3, I'm expecting that we could have you on the grid again.
Yeah, 100%. Got to retain that title.
That's it, and I'm sure Josh will be there with you as well. He has said the same. Has there been, I mean, any other highlights this season that you've had other than your race wins, let's say? Is there any moments that stick out to you?
Well, I would say just overall, the lads in the chat, because obviously we've all been chatting away, and it's the only series that I know of where everyone's in one chat in the race.
Yeah.
And it does make it a lot easier because obviously you can. If, say, for example, I went wide and tapped someone and gave them a 4x, I can straight away apologise, and then if I need to give it back or whatever, you can do it, and yeah, and then there's no malicious like sort of return for that. So yeah, it's good. Yeah, just all the boys in the chat really. Everything, all the races have been good. It's been great. It's good to be involved in.
Certainly has been. It's been a lot of fun from this end as well. Thank you obviously for racing. Well done on your championships. My voice is completely gone now. Do you want to give a quick mention to anyone?
Yeah, obviously, like the boys,
the squad.
Don't want to mention too much, but you know, Josh for being such a good teammate. You for putting it all on. obviously, Mum Lawrence, my dad, they're all watching, and the old Bosco.
The Bosco dog.
The
Well,
Bosco dog.
Again, well done, Matt. Thank you very much for joining us, and well, speak again very soon.
Cheers.
Well, a little bit emotional here, really. It's been another fantastic season, hasn't it? It's been a lot of fun to put this on. Really do hope that you guys have enjoyed watching these broadcasts. Really hope that all the guys have enjoyed the racing, even those we didn't get a chance to speak to tonight. Summing it up then, teams champions, Team Red Ring, their first season in the British Boring Car Championship. Matt Draycott and Josh Rayfield taking that. Calvin Dent is your independent champion on his first appearance in the championship as well. Jake Robertson wins the Driver's Driver Award as well. He'll get a wonderful medal for that. Matt Draycott is your overall Drivers' Champion. And this has been Season 2 of the British Boring Car Championship. My name is Chaz Draycott. Thank you very much, everybody that has been watching. It's been a hell of a lot of fun. And I hope to see you in mid-2021 when we have Season 3 of this hilarious season, I think is probably the best way to put it, not blowing its own horn. But honestly, thank you everyone. It really means a lot that you watch these broadcasts. And we'll see you next year. Have a good night. Oh, and of course, have yourselves a fantastic Christmas and New Year, everybody. Merry Christmas and make the most of the New Year. Let's hope it's a little bit better than 2020, shall we? We'll raise a glass to it all on the night. See you soon.